Hey, welcome, welcome. Tonight we are doing Breaking Point to Boss. I am so excited to be bringing this conversation to everybody. This is something that I have wanted to talk about for such a long time. Um, I'm not gonna lie, like this has been something that's like quite an edge for me in terms of sharing um and talking about my journey and in turn like my success. It definitely pushes me out of my comfort zone, and as you'll learn throughout the masterclass tonight, like that is something that I need to let go of, and that's something that if I want to continue to grow and build and step into like what I like to call like main character energy, I have to let it go, and I have to it can't come with me, which is something that we're going to go into a lot tonight. Like what can't come with you. That's one of my favorite things. So this class tonight, it's going to have something for everybody. It's going to have something for coaches starting out online, PTs transitioning to online, but also anybody wanting to start a business and anyone at all who currently feels like stuck in their life, not knowing how to move forward and actually creating their future, not just sitting back and letting it happen around them. We want to talk about how you can actually create your environment and make sure that it's something that you want rather than just something that is developing without your control. So we are going to go into the depths of what it actually takes to become a full-on boss in like every aspect of your life. Like, yes, I am the boss of my career, my business, my company, but I don't just want to settle into that. Like, this is about like actually bossing through your life. So some of this stuff might not be for you and some of it will be for you. So take what like will land for you personally, but definitely just leave what doesn't. And like I trust that you can decipher that for yourself, what will be beneficial for you and what won't be. But if you have any questions at all, if you want to follow up with me after you watch the replay, please come into Instagram, DM me. If you have me on Voxer and you want to talk about it, I am so here for that. And then anything that comes up for you, if you have any questions, please do use the chat box. And I am so here for that as well. Anything at all, if you are unsure about what I'm talking about, if you want further explanation, if you want examples, or if something just hits home, I love responding. So if you do want to bring anything in, please feel free to do so. But yeah, let's dive into this. So you're here tonight because you want to create a holy fuck, this is my life kind of future. Like I get to sit back every day and be like, holy fuck, this is my life. And I created this. And I have this because of the effort that I put in. Like one that feels slightly out of reach currently, but there is something inside of you that's like, I'm not ready to call it just yet. I am here to tell you that it is within reach and you just need to choose to create it for yourself. You just need to choose to move. If somebody had told me 3 years ago that this would have been possible for me, I would have been like, you're insane. But also part of me would have been like, but what if? And because I followed that what if, I'm here today, which still blows my mind. So you're here because you feel like everything is fine, but you're done settling for fine, and fine can get fucked. I have never wanted a life that's just fine in any aspect of the world, ever. That is, it's just not good enough for me. And it sure as hell shouldn't be good enough for you either. Stop settling for fine. Fine isn't going to bring you fulfillment, joy, connection, happiness, any of the things. I want you to live like knowing that you built your life. I worked every fucking day to make it magical and I didn't settle for fine. You need to be able to push the norm, choose to move away from what is the done thing, what's expected of you, and the shoulds of the world. I should do this. I shouldn't do that. the like what's expected of you as a woman, as a mother, as an employee, what it should look like for your family, for your future. All of that is bullshit and it needs to leave. If I followed what I should do, there's no way I would be here taking this class. So in this class, I'm going to take you through exactly where I was, how burnt out and miserable I had become, and why. I am going to share all of the juicy details of my success, which is a very big edge for me. How I did it, what I had to do, and what I had to learn, and what I had to leave behind in order to get here. Then we're going to dive into what's keeping you stuck, causing you to not break through to your next level in life, business, and your future. The exact steps that I'm going to recommend in you to actually move. I used to be someone that said, if I can do it, anybody can. But now I'm not sure if I believe that. What I do believe is that anybody willing to do the work that I'm going to teach you tonight, they can do it. Not everybody can do it. You can do it though if you're willing to move. So I'm taking this masterclass on becoming successful and how to build a big company, become your own boss, work for yourself, work a life that like you get to choose how it looks. And I dropped out of high school at 16. I completed one term of year 11. And one day I walked out in the middle of maths class and I never went back. I dropped out of high school because someone's coming in. I dropped out of high school because I was lonely. I dropped out of high school because I was trying to find the evidence that I had in my wounding. So I had wounding of not fitting in, being the odd one out. I had big sisterhood wounding. And dropping out of high school meant that I could find the evidence that that was true, that I didn't have to do the work to heal those wounds. I could just be a victim of those wounds, basically. So I left in the middle of maths class in year 11 after completing one term at the age of 16. I also believed that I wouldn't amount to anything except becoming probably a wife who was provided for and had a family. I was told that I was too loud, I was too disruptive, and if that was the case, I might as well get out. So I did. I packed up my stuff and I got out. Luckily for me, I had already started completing certificates in beauty therapy in the VCAL program at high school. So my mum told me as long as I continued with that, I didn't have to continue with school. So I went to beauty school 3 days a week in the city. I worked as a trainee in a beauty salon 3 days a week in the city also, and I lived about an hour and a half from the city. I took a train and a tram to beauty school and my job each way, doing 12-hour shifts, working weekends, and I also was a Coles checkout chick at the time as well. So that is how I spent the next 2 years of my life until I became a fully qualified beauty therapist with a full-time job at 18. After dropping out in year 11. In beauty therapy, in my first job ever, I learned a lot of skills that I still use today in my coaching business. I learned how to listen to people. I learned how to understand people. I learned how to hear concerns and show them how I could fill the gap in their concerns. I was an outlet for people. I worked really fucking hard. I learned how to sell. I learned how to communicate really well. I learned how to create relationships and bonds with people. I became somebody that people felt that they could trust and depend on. And I grew up really fast. I was a beauty therapist for 10 years, and 5 of them I was a manager of a successful skin and laser clinic, where I absolutely prided myself on my strong work ethic. I was always the hardest worker in the room. I was always going to make the most money. I was always going to have the most clients, and I was always going to do a better job than anybody else around me. Why is that? Because I had wounding that if I wasn't working hard, I wasn't lovable. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't worthy. So I was going to make sure that I was the highest achiever. It wasn't something I enjoyed. It wasn't something that I got fun out of. It was something that caused me a lot of stress and a lot of burnout. But I was profitable and I was being praised. I was also managing a team beneath me, and that gave me worthiness as well. I excelled in my career in beauty therapy, but I felt like I was never happy or fulfilled. For a while, I had a partner who would be quite demeaning to my job and refer to me as somebody who does beauty, someone who waxes people, somebody who looks at naked women all day. It was very degrading, and I believed him. I felt like I was never going to get far in life or be able to change any aspect of my future. Within the last 2 years of working at the clinic, I was miserable. I was working 12-hour shifts. I was working weekends, and I did that for 10 years. The pressure and expectation to sell and to make money and to never take a sick day, to never take a day off, to always work 9 to 9 shifts, to always work Saturdays, to always be profitable, burnt me into the ground with expectations and fueled my wounding for wanting to be the best, to be validated that I was good enough. So through those 10 years, I was finding my love for the gym and macro tracking and flexible dieting. I had a personal trainer and I was living and breathing fitness. If you followed me for a while, you will know that there was many ups and downs in that journey. And it went from being extremely, extremely small and thin to the point of unhealthy, and then the complete pendulum swing of me suffering with binge eating disorder for 6 years, which I finally received treatment for at the age of 27. So it had gotten to the point working at the laser clinic that I was calling my partner Luke every single day and telling him that I couldn't do it anymore. I was crying myself to sleep at night with stress. I was self-medicating every weekend, and not in a good way. Not that there is a good way to do that, but every weekend, which is not something I talk about very often, I was definitely self-medicating with substances and alcohol. And every weekend I was trying to escape my reality because it was no longer fulfilling me, and I was a shell of a human being. I was obviously living a very toxic lifestyle with my pursuit of being tiny, having binge eating disorder, and abusing substances. And I was ignoring the fact that my life was burning around me and something needed to change. I knew there was something wrong. I knew there was something missing. I knew I had no fulfillment anywhere in life. But I was 27 years old and I had no other life skills. I had no other qualifications, and beauty was all I knew. It was all I believed I could do. It was all I believed that I was good at. And I was excelling at it. So stepping away from that was one of the most frightening things of my life. So when I was 27, was my current state of reality. And then COVID hit. COVID hit and we went into lockdown. I still remember the press conference. I still remember going into work the next day. I vividly remember the conversation with all of the managers within Australia on Zoom, telling us that we were going to have 4 weeks off and telling us that we were going to be paid for those 4 weeks. And then after that, we weren't going to be employed, and we had no idea what that looked like. I went home in absolute tears. The next day, Luke came home from work and I had an extreme mental breakdown. We had a screaming fight out the back of his house because I told him I no longer had a purpose. I no longer had a reason to get up in the morning, and everything that I based my worthiness on was taken away from me, and I didn't know when I was going to get it back. From somebody who had seen that I was struggling so much, so miserable, so unhappy, and so stuck, he couldn't understand what I was talking about. He would say to me, "This is the biggest gift that you've ever been given. You've been given time and nobody else gets time. You hate your job and you can do something about it. So it's time that you took your unhappiness in your own hands and did something." He said to me, "If you could look forward and see your life in 5 years' time as exactly the same as it is now, would you be happy?" My answer to him was Absolutely fucking not. And as soon as I had that vision in my head that my life would be exactly the same in 5 years' time, I knew I had to take action. He prompted me to think about the things that I was passionate about and the things that I had skills in that weren't a career. We very quickly decided that I was going to become a personal trainer and teach people on nutrition. He was the only one that had any belief in me that I could make my career online possible. Because not even myself at that point had any belief that I could. I found the course, it was $5,000. At that point in time, I didn't know if I had a steady income. So I called my mum, and my mum gave me $5,000. And then a week after, I applied to take that $5,000 out of my super fund, and I paid my mum back with money from my super. I also lied to my mum and told her I'd be putting it back in, and I never have. So I started studying through lockdown, and that looked like me doing 6-hour days, studying at my computer on my own in lockdown. And the only other thing I did was went for a walk, used our gym equipment, and created my Instagram. Now, not many of you would know that I started my Instagram as non-essential Sarah. That was the phrase that we were called when we got told that we were going into lockdown, non-essential. And I took that to heart. That really played on my wounding. The first ever time I posted on my non-essential Sarah page was April 6th in 2020. That's the first time I posted. So that was just under 3 years ago. In May 2020, so a month later, I started my personal training and nutrition qualification. I started my page before I started studying. I was so nervous about starting my page. I remember the first time I spoke on my page, I did it without my face on the camera, and I wanted to literally vomit. It was the scariest thing I have ever done. The actual qualification was the easiest thing I have ever done. In July 2020, I started coaching my friends for free. I started coaching a girl that I worked with at the clinic, and she got amazing results. And when I posted her before and afters, our friend Jessie, who was a client at the clinic, saw Nicole's before and afters, and she signed up with me, and she was my first paying client. She still works with me to this day. You will see me share her picture. I think she's doing a barbell press on my stories this morning. So Jessie was my first ever client, and I got her from my non-paying client friend Nicole, and then I started charging $25 a week for my coaching. And I know so many of you are going to be like, what the hell? That's how much you were charging. Yes. And I still had people telling me that I was still too expensive. I was still feeling so sick and so guilty and so scared charging people $25 a week. I was also doing Zoom call check-ins weekly for these people. Weekly Zoom calls for $25. I was massively undercharging my worth because I just wanted validation that I could do this and that people would pay me. August 2021. So fast forward a year of doing that, I hired my first mindset coach. It was 3 months for $3,333, and it made me so incredibly sick, and I welcomed my new level. I worked with her. Her name's Jessie. I worked with her because I couldn't possibly picture myself working for myself. It was not in my mindset or my frame of mind. I used to say, I have a block. I have a block that I couldn't even imagine that would be possible for me, that I could work for myself full time. I couldn't imagine it. It was unimaginable. So I hired her to figure out where those blocks were coming from for me and how I could move through them. Because what was the point in doing these qualifications if that wasn't the goal? Basically, as this was happening in October, we got told that we were going back to work. I didn't want to go back to work at the laser clinic. So I applied for my first gym job, and I got my first job I applied for, and it was a managing position, and I started managing 2 gyms. I was managing these 2 gyms. I was coaching about 15 people at that time for $25 a week. I was doing Zoom calls in my lunch break whilst I was also posting on my Instagram page daily, stories daily, and I was making about an extra $3,000 a month. In September 2021, I hired my first business coach, and it was over $7,000 for 3 months. I nearly died making that commitment, and I welcomed a new level. Whilst I was doing this and working at the gym was giving me, the people I was working with basically nearly pushed me back into my eating disorder with the expectations that they had around how I should be eating. I was working split shifts. I was starting my shifts at 5 a.m. and I was working till 11. I was coming home and doing client check-ins, Zoom calls, and building my own business. And I was going back to work at 4 o'clock until 9 p.m. at night. I did this for about a year. Whilst I was working with that business coach, I got to the point after 6 weeks of working with them that I could quit my job and I could become full-time within my own business. Strong Shapes was created and the 12-week method started. The original price point for that was $999. I launched and I made $65,000 in 3 months. I had to register for GST by the December of that year, because as soon as you hit 75K, you have to register for GST and you have to start paying tax. The fact that that was happening was blowing my mind. By May 2022, I had hit 6 figures in my business within 10 months of being full-time. I was bringing in around 20K months just by offering the method alone, the 12-week method that I was charging $999 for. But in all honesty, I was burnt out by January. I was burning the candle. I was stressed. I was anxious. I was overwhelmed. I was so broken down and so burnt out. I had no boundaries with clients. I had no boundaries with social media. I had no boundaries talking to people in my DMs. I was accepting way too many clients. I was offering way too much value, and I was not keeping myself healthy. Something had to change from this point. But as you can see, my evolution over the last 3 years has been quite fast. So everything had to catch up with my reality. So when I first started, I had nothing figured out. And I mean nothing. I was literally all run with it, hope for the best, and figure it out as you go. I didn't even have a business bank account. I had clients paying me through direct debit on a trust system that I had to track personally every week and tick their names off a list. I had no back-end systems and had to do everything manually. I had no plan on what I was doing, creating, posting, or how to build, grow, or scale. I had no idea how you created an online business. I had no onboarding process, and it was all done manually and extremely time-consuming and messy. I was doing check-ins via email, and they were done on a really pathetic Word document that was absolute shit show of a joke that I made myself. As I said, I was charging $25 per week, and when I put it up to $35, I literally felt sick to my stomach, and I had people telling me that I was charging too much money and ghosting me when I told them I was charging $35 a week. I was literally winging every single week, month, and hoping that I could keep it going. I had no vision or belief in myself. I had to make, I did not believe that I could make this a long-term career, and just waiting for the day that I would have to go back to work, even back to the skin clinic. There have been so many struggles that you haven't seen from me, so many that I haven't talked about. When I started my Instagram account, I blocked every single person I knew out of fear of judgment, out of fear of failure, that they would see me try and I couldn't follow through. The amount of anxious energy that I had waiting for clients to commit to me because I had no self-belief in myself that people would want to work with me, the shame and disappointment within myself and fear of failure when people said no, or when people needed to cancel, the anxiety of people asking me about like wanting to work with me and then ghosting me again, the fear of putting my prices up and people telling me that I was a joke and like, how dare you charge that much? Even when I knew to my core that I was good at what I did, posting what people wanted to see from me and what they expected. I'm sure you guys remember me posting so many recipes and so much meal prep and so much about tracking. And I don't hardly do that anymore because it's not what I want to be doing. The feeling that I had to look a certain way, that I had to stay skinny to be successful, that I had to put the pressure on myself to hold up a certain aesthetic to build my page in order for people to want to work with me. I let so many boundaries be crossed internally and externally. I used to hide my pricing and not tell people how much I charged until I had convinced them to work with me on sales calls. I get crickets every time I do posts or question boxes or selling programs or when I put up inquiry forms, not having my family understand me or show support for what I was doing or even care what I was doing. Imposter syndrome daily, breakdowns daily, crying to my partner daily, dreaming about clients and how I was going to make it work, wanting to burn it all down to the ground and get a job at Baker's Delight. That was my go-to. So where was all of this coming from? It only had everything to do with my mindset. So we fast forward to what you see now, only 18 months working for myself online, full time. So what do you see? This is a multi-six-figure company. I changed to a company in June last year before the end of the tax year because that was advised by my accountant. This is my uncomfortable edge, sharing these kind of things with you. February last month was a year and a half, the 18-month mark for me going full-time within my company. And I decided to calculate my revenue over the last 18 months. In that time, I have generated $350,000 working for myself with everything that you just saw. All of those mindset blocks, all of those limiting beliefs, all of those fear of failure, all of that shame and judgment that I had on myself, I still have managed to create that amount of revenue. I have loyal as fuck clients who re-sign for 6 months or more at a time. I have deep client relationships and bonds that go so much deeper than the normal coach-client relationship. And this keeps my retention rate around 90 to 95%. I have countless testimonials from inside and out. So my clients change not just on the outside, but deeply from the inside, making their results so much more powerful and sustainable that a lot of my new clients come from recommendations from them. This comes from coaching the human, not the plan. People can Google macros and training. It's not what that's about. It's about getting to know them and what works and what's easy and how their mindset is blocking them. Every single part of coaching in every single aspect, whether it be fitness, nutrition, food freedom, or business, it is mindset. This is the part that we're missing. I am confident and powerful in my space, and I know that I can help people. I have such a strong belief in that. And I am unapologetically myself. And I don't go with the mold. I don't keep myself small. I don't keep myself stuck. I know I'm good at what I do, and I can speak to that. Not showcasing what I can do would be a disservice to women that I can help, because I have seen that women need help, and I know that I can get them to move. I have abilities that people need in order to change their life, and women deserve me to be standing in my power, offering that service and showing them what's possible. I am the skill of being a coach. Without that, you will not succeed. You need to know how to create results, and without the results, you won't get very far. Where does all this come from? the change in my mindset. I have invested over $90,000 in the 3 years since I started my Instagram page. This includes qualifications, short courses, mindset coaching, business strategy coaching, and business mindset coaching. And this is only a small part to why I'm successful. I have invested a lot of money to get me where I am today. Each time it has been an edge, each time it has pushed me, but each time it has been 100% worth it. And every investment I've ever made has given me so much than I could have ever have dreamed. The other reasons behind my success is a whole heap of deep as fuck mindset work and looking at all of my shit, all of the stuff that I just mentioned to you 2 slides ago, that most people choose to ignore in order to stay comfortable and stay safe. It is literally because of my personal development work and the money that I have invested in growing and developing my emotional intelligence that I work on every single day. That includes shadow work, ego work, a fuck ton of inner child work to understand, accept, and transcend my stories, my patterns, my wounding, and my trauma. We all have trauma. Trauma isn't this scary, scary thing. You know, it can be, but we all have levels of trauma. And trust me when I tell you it's playing out in your life. It is, whether you want to see it or not. I've had to work on my mindset. Like, I cannot tell you how fucking important your money mindset is if you want to succeed. You have to feel safe with money in order to make money. I had to feel safe in investing 90 grand in knowing that it was going to have an ROI. It was going to have a return. If you don't feel safe with what's in your bank account now, you will not feel safe when that triples, when you make 350K in 18 months. You have to work on your relationship with money. You have to be constantly upgrading your boundaries. I had to massively change not only my external, but my internal boundaries as well. Setting them, upholding them, no matter how hard it gets. Constant upgrades to my circles. Who's around me? Whose energy do I take in? What conversations do I entertain? And what projections do I leave myself open to? Keeping my values aligned as fuck and being as conscious around this as possible. What are my values? Am I upholding them? And am I honoring them? Learning to calm my nervous system daily because of all of that shit that I just told you I was going through. I had to learn how to calm that down, take what I needed and leave the rest, working on coping mechanisms, building my self-trust, building evidence that I can depend on that I can use my voice and step into who I am as a woman in my power, embody what I stand for. I had to get so comfortable being so far out of my comfort zone every day and showing myself that I am safe there because of everything I just mentioned. I am not here to tell you that you need to go and spend 90K by investing like money to force that growth. It's not what I'm saying, but it gave me something to lose. It gave me backing and it pushed my edges. It gave me what I call skin in the game. And that is what we see in fitness and nutrition coaching, in food freedom coaching, in mindset coaching, in business coaching. You've got something to lose. I knew I wanted success, and I knew that if I invested, I wouldn't give up. I had to do the work. It showed me to believe in myself and that I was worth it, but it also made sure that somebody else was believing in me too and holding me accountable. Because every time I woke up with those feelings that I was struggling with, I had somebody being like, what did you do today? What have you done this week? What are you struggling with? How can I help you? And I've done it with them together to get me to this point. This isn't about strategy and marketing and having the best offer plan, like, or the most offer or plan or the most luck. One of my favorite things I heard from my own coach is turn your mess into your message. It's not marketing. It's not pretty Instagram posts. It's not generating leads, strategy, or luck that's created this for me. They help, but they are not what creates a successful leader or company that will last the long run. Your internal is going to become your external in life, in your business, your career, in everything, whether you want to see it or not. This is for that line there is for everybody that's not in the coaching world. Your internal is going to become your external, whether you want to see it or not. So start looking at your internal. The coaching for me is the easy part. The coaching is the part that I could do in my sleep that never has been the part that's been the struggle. It's the inner work that's hard. The internal development, the wounding and the trauma that's playing out daily, and being able to see it and understand it and allow it to be there and then learn from it instead of trying to bury it. The fear of failure and then not self-sabotaging with procrastination. I work for myself at home by myself. Procrastination is my worst enemy, and not giving into that and sabotaging myself, being able to handle the anxiety and the neediness and the just like, I just want to make more, making sure it's more than like, it has to be more than that. It has to be more than the money, making sure that that's not my focus, that I'm not focusing on the outcome. Being able to show up when things feel heavy as fuck in your own life and not letting that leak out into your business, your career, your external, not letting that leak out on my social media. How many of you know when I'm having a bad day? If I've had a fight with my partner, not letting it leak out into my relationship with my clients. That's not what they're paying me for. They're not paying for leaky as fuck energy. Not letting your limiting beliefs literally limit you and cock block you into small girl energy. You need to be clear on what you're doing, what your offer is, where you're going in life, what you want from life, what your why is, and that needs to be in the forefront of your mind to keep you going. You need to create relationships and connect with the people in your life, with your audience, with your clients, with where you want to go. And you need to care about the fucking human behind who you want to work with and where you want to be. It's not about the money. You have to be a safe haven that people can trust you, depend on you, and you also need to fully back yourself and know your worth. I became the coach I needed when I was starting. I did everything I didn't get or when I wanted it, when I needed it, when I was struggling. I created the energy I was hoping for when I was where my clients are. I became qualified in areas that I struggled with to understand them and help others just like me with a place of healing and understanding. I've always been open, honest, and vulnerable as fuck, ready to share the depths of my journey and my soul. I've always led with my heart and not from my bank account or from my ego. I became a coach who really fucking cared in an industry saturated in numbers and before and after pictures. People work with me because they get the human, because they get my journey, they get my understanding, they get my heart. That is why I've made the money that I have made and have had the success that I have had, because I never once fucking cared about how much money I was making. I only care about the human that I'm working with. If you don't know where you are, where you need to be, or how you're going to get there, get coached. I say that not as a sales pitch. I say that because I truly believe that in my soul. Being okay with being a beginner is so important. Take a step back. It will look like you're regressing. It will look like you're going backwards. But you have to pull the arrow back in order to launch it forwards. My partner, I will talk about this a lot. He's 30 years old and he owns a successful electrical business. He started and built his electrical business from the ground up, and he is very successful and he makes great money. He's dissolving his electrical business and shutting it down within the next 2 months. Let that sink in. He is miserable in his business and he comes home every day, burnt out, drained, hating it. But he has a successful trade business. So why would you get rid of that? Because he is fucking miserable. He said to me the other night, it feels like a step back. And I said, of course it does. But can you move forward without taking this step back? And his answer was no. It feels like a step back. But is that step back putting you on a different path to be able to step forward? It was a step back for me to go back to study, to get my first gym job that was paying me less than the laser clinic job. That was a step back. I took a massive pay cut for that job. But would I be here without doing it? Could I have gotten here without doing it? No. You have to be comfortable with the step back and not make that mean anything more than it does. So where are you? I know where you are because I work with women like you every day of my life. Even if I don't know you, even if you're not my client, I know where you are. You wouldn't be here listening to this call if you weren't stuck or wanting more. We are all beautifully different, unique, and perfect, but we all also are exactly the same. We all desire more freedom, more money, more time, more control, more empowerment, more worthiness, confidence, respect, more fun, more playfulness, more fulfillment. It's so fucking okay to want more, to want all of those things, to have more than your friends, your parents, more than anybody needs. There is no shame in wanting and aiming for more. Let that sink in, because as women, we are told that that's not okay. There is a level of unfulfillment and need that's not being met. And that thing in the back of your mind that keeps you second guessing, wishing, wondering, and playing the what if game. But in turn, it's matched by the I couldn't, I'm not like that, it wouldn't work for me. That is a bullshit narrative that you keep telling yourself so you don't have to look at the thing and you don't have to move. I know every woman feels it within her and only some actually act on it. We call those people the 1%ers. You're here because you're stuck and you want to become a boss in your own right, in your own way, in your life. So what's keeping you there? I'm going to go through a few things that I've learned myself, my journey and my success, but also from the hundreds of fucking women that I have ever coached as to why so many of us are stuck. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. And if you've ever read anything by James Smith, and maybe he talks about it on his Instagram, I'm not sure, but this is something that he talks a lot about. So what's keeping you stuck? I'm going to give you multiple things. It could be, but one of the biggest traps we fall into, and I see constantly with the women I coach, is the sunk cost fallacy. Now, before we dive into this, let's take a deep breath and remind ourselves that it is okay to make mistakes. We all do it, even me. I still make mistakes every day. But what separates the people who succeed to the ones who stay stuck is how we deal with our mistakes. And that's where the sunk cost fallacy comes in. It's the idea that just because we've already invested time, money, or resources into something, we feel like we have to keep going, even if it's not working. It's like when you order a meal at a restaurant and it's really bad, but you still force yourself to finish it because you don't want to waste your money or your calories for the tracking queens out there. It's when you're watching a shit movie, but you stick it out to the end because you've already invested time in it. But let's be real, sticking with something just because you've already invested in it is like throwing good money after bad. It's like refusing to give up on a sinking ship just because you've bought the ticket. Sometimes it's better to cut your losses and move on to something better. Now, it's really easy to think, but I've spent so much time on this project, on this job, on this relationship, on my degree, on what I'm qualified in, whatever it is. I can't just give that up. Literally to that, I say, why the fuck not? If it's not working, it's not working. It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. It's just not going to happen, no matter how much you want it to. It's not going to change. It's not going to make you happy. Walk away now. You need to make a pact with yourself to not fall victim to the sunk cost fallacy. Learn to recognize when something isn't working and move on to something better. And who knows, maybe that something better will be the key to your success. The sunk cost fallacy is a cognitive bias that can cause you to make irrational decisions based on our past investments of time, money, or other resources. I've seen the sunk cost fallacy stop women from moving forward in their future by continuing to invest in a failing project. Like when you're invested a significant amount of time or money or effort into a project, it can be difficult to let it go. Like doing a degree and then realizing you don't want to work in that field. The project is no longer viable, but you continue to invest simply because you've already put so much into it, especially things like your heart and your passion and time and money, even if it means like sacrificing other opportunities that you could be more successful in. Sticking with a job or a career that's no longer fulfilling you. We may feel like we've invested too much time or effort into that particular job or career path and to consider switching, even if we're no longer fulfilled or happy in that role. Holding on to possessions that no longer serve you, the sunk cost fallacy, like, can also apply to things. Holding on to things that wonderful. Sorry, I'll just try and mute. So kiss nuts, goodbye. Sorry, guys. Okay, cool. So it can also apply to your possessions. We may like holding on to things that are like no longer serving us simply because we invested money into them. How many of you have clothes that don't fit you anymore, but you spent money on them, so you're not getting rid of them? They're taking up valuable space and preventing us to move forward physically and mentally. You need to be upgrading your external environment. It could look like ignoring new opportunities. When you're focused on your past investments, you may be less likely to consider new opportunities that could be more successful and fulfilling. And this can limit your potential and prevent you from moving forward. Staying in unhealthy relationships is another one. Many people will stay in miserable marriages, friendships, partnerships, based on the time they've spent in them and the effort that they have put into them to make it work as far as they've gotten into it. They're not assessing the quality, and it's really costing them. It's not about the quantity of time, the quantity of effort, the quantity of resources that you've put in. So when my partner told I think it was in his insurance broker, he said like they were paying for a year of insurance in their business. And he said, if I close the business in June, can we get our money back on our insurance? And his insurance broker said, why would you want to close your business? And he said, well, I'm not happy working in it and I'm going to move away. And the insurance broker said, what a shame. That's so much hard work going down the drain. And I just thought that was the most craziest fucking thing to say, because he is miserable. He hates his job. He hates the trade. He comes home exhausted, unfulfilled, not happy. Is it a waste to give up on that? I don't think so. Can you imagine if he had said to that man, I'm leaving my partner, and that man said, why? And he goes, well, we've been together for 5 years, but I'm miserable every day. We're not happy. It makes me unfulfilled. I don't get any joy from our relationship anymore. Do you really think that guy would turn around and then say, oh, but think about the hard 5 years that you've already put into that? Fuck no, it doesn't work that way. cut your losses and get the fuck out. Ask ourselves, if I was starting fresh today, would I make the same decision? If the answer is no, it is time to let go of your past investments. That is the sunk cost fallacy. The second thing keeping you stuck is not investing in yourself. And again, I'm not here to preach for you to invest, but I do believe it is crucial for a successful future because it helps shape your mindset in a positive way. Investing has more to do with mindset than it does the ROI. It increases your self-awareness. Investing in yourself can help you become more self-aware, which is crucial for your personal growth and development. By investing time and effort into activities, like you don't have to just invest money. You can invest time, effort, awareness, energy. You can invest into meditation, into journaling, into coaching. It gives you a deeper understanding of yourself, a deeper understanding of your values, of your goals, of your patterns, of your behaviors, and any wounding that you have playing out, keeping you stuck. It boosts your self-confidence. So when you invest in yourself, you are demonstrating that you value your own growth and development. You're showing yourself that you are worthy of that. This will boost your confidence and your belief in your own abilities, which can be crucial for success in any area of your life. It will help you develop new skills. Investing in yourself often involves learning new skills and taking courses to improve your knowledge in any particular area. This will become more valuable in your career and your personal life and can help you with a growth mindset. I am a forever student. I will forever invest in my growth mindset. I will forever be making sure that I am not settling for the level that I am at. Yes, I have made 350K in 18 months from being completely burnt out as fuck. I will never settle for that being my max. I will always aim to grow further than that. It can help you in improving your mental health. It will have a positive impact on your mental health. If you engage in activities, meditation, exercise, reducing stress, anxiety, all of that will improve. It will give you clarity and direction. I guarantee you that is something that you're struggling with. Investing in yourself can help you gain clarity and direction in your life. By exploring your interests and your passions, you gain a better understanding of what you want to achieve and how to get there. This is like literally hindered by your self-limiting beliefs. If you can work through those, you will succeed. It is crucial for you developing a positive mindset that you can achieve success in all areas of your life. It can help you become more self-confident, more aware, more skilled, mentally healthy, and provide you with clarity and direction for your future goals. By prioritizing your own growth and development, you're setting yourself up for a successful future with a positive mindset. One of my favorite topics. In order to get to your next level in life, your next level of self, there are some things that cannot come with you. There are things, there are people, there are behaviors, there are mindsets, there are patterns, there are thoughts, and there are conversations. Basically, anything that isn't congruent or aligned with where you are going and with your values and beliefs, it needs to be left behind. You need to have a look at what you're currently entertaining and decide whether that is encouraging your evolution and your growth or keeping you stuck. Are they keeping you small, taking up space and energy? Are they draining you? If so, we need to have a good hard look at what needs to be cut out. So the things that I was entertaining that I needed to let go of to reach the success that I have had, wanting to fit in, wanting to be included, wanting to be normal, wanting to be like part of the regular group, fitting in with my family, because my family, they just have regular jobs and regular families and they're not overly successful. I had to let go of aiming to get validation from my mum because I was never going to get it and I needed to stop looking for it. I was pushing my success and showing her how successful I was, and I wasn't getting the validation. So I had to let go of that because it was draining. I definitely had to let go of my toxic behavior on the weekends and started living in alignment with my health values that I had. I had to let go of worrying what people thought. And like I said at the start, sharing how much money I make is such an edge for me because I have to let go of the fact that sharing that makes me think that people think that I'm above them. I know that that sounds confusing, but that's something that I had to let go of. I had to let go of not being the best and be a beginner again. I have had to let go of not being an authority with my shift to food freedom and binge eating. I was an authority in the fitness and nutrition space, and I still am, but I had to let go of being an authority for food freedom because I'm just beginning there. I had to let go of keeping myself small because if I'm small, I'm not open to judgment. So I had to let go of that. I had to let go of wanting to be saved and taken care of because now I take care of my fucking self because now I can provide for myself. I had to let go of imposter syndrome. I had to let go of people pleasing. I had to let go of people telling me that I was too loud and that I had too much of an opinion because guess what? I do. I am too loud and I have too much of an opinion and it's made me successful. I had to stop wanting to not blend in and not to be seen. I also couldn't take with me my eating disorder because it was ruining my life. And I could not have a successful business while I had an eating disorder. So those are the things that I had to choose to look at and let them go in order to get to my next level. Something that you need to let go of to get to your next level is pedestaling people. As long as you keep them up here, you keep you down here. As long as there are people that you've pedestaled, you keep yourself small and you believe that it's not possible for you. So, what do you get to continue to do? And who do you continue to get to be if you stop looking, if you don't look at your shit? Who do you get to be? What do you get to continue to do if you don't look at what can't come with you? What do you need to commit to in order to let go? What are you pretending isn't a problem? What are you ignoring? As soon as you start looking at that stuff, you will be able to move forward in your success. It is your responsibility to look at your shit and do a check-in on yourself. Where are your blind spots? What isn't aligning for you? Where are you saying this but doing that? Why aren't you moving? What can I shift and what needs to go? What conversations do I need to have? What conversations need to stop? Where can I lead myself to my next level? And who do you get to remain if you don't change? What are you getting from entertaining this shit? Is it connection? Is it inclusion? Is it validation? Is it being humble? Is it being the odd one out? What do you get by not changing? I understand that this can be harsh, but you need to choose more for yourself and hold yourself to a higher standard if you want to live within a higher standard. And a higher standard can mean completely changing your direction. A higher standard can mean doing something that isn't the norm, that people don't expect from you. It can be what looks to be a step back, but if it makes you happier and it fulfills you more and it gets you to a more joyful position in life, that's where you need to go no matter what it looks like. It's an ongoing commitment to be conscious, mindful, and responsive to your environment and sense of self? Are you seeing things present themselves for your next phase? Things significantly start dropping off from the universe if you let them. Allow the universe to weed it out for you and don't clutch onto them. This is your opportunity to show the world that you're listening and that you're ready for your next level. There's a girl that is in my coaching group container, and she is a fitness and nutrition coach, and she wants to transition to just mindset coaching. She had 5 nutrition clients left, and she had made the decision that she was going to tell them that she was finishing nutrition coaching and that they would have to finish up their packages and they couldn't resign. The night before she decided to do that, 3 of them canceled. 3 out of 5. That is the universe showing you you're ready. Listen, take the signs, take them, because this is your answer to move forward. You need to get in tune with what's going on. You might not be ready to let go, and that's so fine. Sometimes we're not ready to let go of certain things. But if you think you might eventually get there, you need to start becoming aware of these things and start noticing how they play out in your life. Just start being conscious of them. It can be really fucking scary, and I get that. It can mean difficult conversations, opening yourself up to judgment, people not understanding you, not being relatable, and it can be lonely. This can be lonely. But the people who are meant to be in your life will grow with you if there is a next level for them. You need to allow grief here if it's not, and that's okay. But there also needs to be a belief that this is necessary to move, and it has to be stronger than anything else. What can you not take with you? An important aspect of mindset and success is that often goes overlooked because it's quite basic, is boundaries. Boundaries are the guidelines we set for ourselves and others, and about what we will and will not tolerate in our lives. And when it comes to mindset, boundaries are crucial for maintaining a healthy, positive mind to grow from. Boundaries allow us to protect our mental health and well-being by setting limits on what we will allow into our life. If you're someone who struggles with anxiety, setting a boundary to limit your exposure to stressful situations or negative people can help you with a more positive and calmer mindset. They are necessary. If we are looking for growth in our future, and even more so within our businesses, both internal and external boundaries need to be put in place. If you don't have boundaries in place, you are going to find yourself constantly overwhelmed and stressed out by the demands of expectations of others. This is why I had so much burnout within both of my careers, the expectations of others, because I didn't tell them this is too much. I didn't tell them you expect too much from me. I didn't tell them you are not validating the work I'm already doing. Then within my business, early days, I didn't set check-in days. Check in whenever the fuck you want to. What? I was replying to messages at 10 o'clock at night, encouraging people to message at 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday. If you need me, I'm always here. That was just validating my need to serve people, but it was burning me the fuck out. You have to put boundaries in. My clients get so much more out of me now that I have boundaries. They get so much more energy. They get so much more attentiveness. They get no resentment. Not having boundaries will leave you overwhelmed and stressed, and it can lead to negative thought patterns and negative mindset, and they're very hard once they're not set to start introducing. So how can we set boundaries for your mindset? Identify your values. The first step in setting boundaries is to identify your values. What's important to you? What do you prioritize in life? Once you have a clear understanding of your values, you can start setting boundaries to protect them. Say no. Saying no is one of the most powerful ways to set boundaries. And this is something that I see so many women struggle with. It is okay to say no to things that don't align with your values, or that you don't have time for, or energy for, or that you don't want to do. Remember, your time and energy are valuable, and it is important to use them in the way that serves you best. Communicate clearly when setting your boundaries. It is important to communicate your needs and expectations clearly. Be assertive, direct, and state what you will not tolerate. I know that this can be uncomfortable, but it is essential for maintaining healthy relationships and a positive mindset. Not having strong boundaries can stop you moving forward in your future in several ways. Burnout and exhaustion. Without clear boundaries, you may find yourself taking on too much, saying yes to things you don't have time for, overextending yourself. It can make it really, really difficult for you to stay motivated and productive. When you don't have clear boundaries, it's so easy to get distracted by other people's needs and demands. And that lack of focus will have you moving away from your own needs and your own self-care. It will lead to poor decision making. You'll be making decisions that aren't aligned with your values and goals. And that will have such great effect on your personal and professional life. It will lead to unhealthy relationships. Like, it will drain your energy, it will undermine your self-esteem, and you doesn't support your personal or professional growth. The way that it will having people struggle with boundaries in relationships so much, but I want you to think about the resentment that you'll grow for that person if you don't have boundaries. You will resent that person, and it will have a toxic result on that relationship. It is not selfish to set boundaries, because boundaries are a way to establish and maintain healthy relationships. It shows respect both ways. It is something that you need for your own personal well-being. You need to communicate your expectations, and it will prevent you from so much overwhelm. As I said, resentment, being taken advantage of. You need to know your boundaries and know your worth. Setting boundaries is not only taking care of yourself, but it's creating a more honest and transparent dynamic with those around you. When you clearly communicate what you are comfortable with, you give others the opportunity to respect your boundaries, and you build trust and respect in that relationship. Setting boundaries is an essential part of self-care, promoting your own mental health, emotional, and physical health as well. It allows you to prioritize your own needs and make choices that align with your values and goals, which will ultimately lead to greater happiness and fulfillment in your life. Not having strong boundaries will stop you from moving forward in your future. It will lead to burnout. It will lead to exhaustion, lack of focus, unhealthy relationships, poor decision-making, low self-esteem. It is important to communicate your boundaries and know them clearly within yourself as well. You deserve to live a life that aligns with your values and supports your growth. And you will not get that without boundaries. So where in your life or within your professional business can you see where your boundaries may be leaky as fuck? Because that's where we need to look. The next thing holding you back from achieving your full potential, the fear of failure. We've all been there. We've all had a goal or a dream in mind, but the thought of failing terrifies us to our very core. We worry about what others will think if we don't succeed, or whether we're just not good enough to make it happen. But here's the thing. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the journey to success. Every successful person you look up to has failed at some point. The difference is they survived it, they learned from it, and they came back stronger. If I took every single time nobody responded to me offering my offers as failure, I would never have gotten to where I was. Every time somebody doesn't sign up, every time somebody cancels, Every time somebody tells me I'm too expensive, if I had taken that as failure, there's no way I would be here. But I understand that the fear of failure can be paralyzing. It can make us give up on our dreams before we even start. If we never take risks and try new things, we will never know what we are truly capable of. I couldn't even envision having a business, let alone a successful one. And if I had just taken that as how it was going to be, I would not be here talking to you now. Fear of failure can be a powerful force that holds us back from pursuing our goals and dreams, and it can stop you from moving forward in life. When we're afraid of failing, we will spend way too much time analyzing and overthinking options that we fail to take any type of action. This will leave you stuck, unable to move forward. You will avoid taking risks, trying new things. You stick to what's familiar and what's comfortable and safe. But that is not what's lighting you up. That's not what's giving you a holy fuck, is this my life kind of future. It will lead to self-doubt and negative self-talk. It will diminish a lot of your confidence, and it makes it so much harder for you to go after what you want. And when we're afraid of failing, you're going to develop limiting beliefs that are holding you back from achieving your potential. You might believe that you're not smart enough, talented enough, or deserving enough to succeed. And then we start to procrastinate as we put off taking action or making decisions in order to avoid the possibility of failure. So we need to overcome this fear. The first step is to acknowledge that it exists. It's okay to be afraid of failing. That's a natural human emotion. But we have to learn to use the fear as fuel to drive us forward into success rather than letting us hold us back. One way to do this is to reframe our mindset. Instead of viewing failure as a negative outcome, we can choose to see it as a necessary step towards achieving our goals. Failure is necessary. Failure is not the end of the road. It's a detour that can lead us to new and unexpected opportunities. Another way to overcome the fear of failure is to take action. The longer we wait, the more our fear can grow and paralyze us, yeah? So take small steps towards your goal, even if they're scary as fuck. This is also going to create evidence that you have actually nothing to fear. You will see that it is actually safe for you to move forward, and it will stretch your comfort zone. It's okay to make mistakes along the way. This is how you learn, and this is how you grow. Finally, you need to surround yourself with positive influences. Surround yourself with people who believe in you and support your dreams. Seek out mentors or coaches who have faced their own fears of failure and who have come out on top. The fear of failure is a natural and understandable emotion. It is important to take action. Break your goals down into smaller, more manageable steps and make sure you celebrate your progress along the way. By taking action and facing your fear, you will build the self-confidence and overcome the fear that may be holding you back from achieving your full potential. I'm not afraid of fucking failing. I am not afraid of going backwards. I know that if I do, I will move from there and I will try harder and I will learn from it. I'm going to be talking more on failure. Watch this space because there is something coming for failure because I fucking love failure isn't real. Failure is a concept, and fear of failure is really just a fear of ourselves. And I cannot wait to dive into that more. But the thing about failure, though, as I lead into the next topic, that if we do face it, it can be seen as evidence that will lead to our self-limiting beliefs. Something that affects all of us, whether we realize it or not in our personal and professional life, and something that can massively hold us back from achieving our full potential and living our best lives. Those are our limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs are those negative thoughts and beliefs that we hold about ourselves and the world around us. They tell They are the stories that we tell ourselves about why we can't achieve our goals or why we're not good enough. And the worst part is that we often believe these stories are true, even if they're not. For example, you might have the limiting belief that you're not smart enough to go back to school or study something new. Or maybe you believe that you're too old to start a new career. These beliefs can hold you back from pursuing your dreams and achieving your goals. I was 27 when I started. So why do we have limiting beliefs? It's often because our past experiences and the messages that we've received from others. Maybe someone told you you weren't good enough, or that you failed at something and assumed that you would always fail at those things. These experiences shape our beliefs and our abilities, like about ourselves, that we're capable of. The problem with limiting beliefs is that they become self-fulfilling prophecies. If you not if you if you believe you're not good enough to succeed, you are less likely to take risks and put in the necessary effort to achieve success. And this can lead to the self-fulfilling cycle of failure and reinforces the belief that you're not good enough. So what can we do about limiting beliefs? The first step is to just recognize them. We often don't realize that we even have them. It's important to take some time to reflect and identify any negative thoughts or beliefs that are holding you back. Once they're identified, our limiting beliefs, we can challenge them. We can ask ourselves if they are really true and if there's evidence to support them. We can also try to reframe them in a more positive way. Instead of thinking, I'm not smart enough to go back to school, we can reframe it as I'm capable of learning and growing, and I can succeed if I put the effort in. If I do the work, I can do this. We can replace our limiting beliefs with empowering beliefs. We can focus on our strengths and our abilities and remind ourselves of our past successes. You've achieved so much in your life already. Use that as evidence. By doing so, you can start to believe in yourself and your potential. Self-talk is so important. How you talk to yourself, the language you use with yourself, that will keep you stuck and in small girl energy. It can create such a negative mindset, which will affect your motivation and your attitude towards life. If you believe that you're not capable of achieving your goals, you're less likely to take the necessary steps to achieve them. Why would you even fucking bother? Right? Why would you even try if you don't believe you can? They will prevent you from taking action. If you believe that you're not good enough to start your own business, you will never take the first step towards entrepreneurship. They will limit your opportunities. If you believe that you're not qualified for a certain job or that you're not capable of pursuing a certain career, you won't even try and get it. You won't apply. You won't even look. It will lead to self-sabotage, which is when you intentionally or unintentionally undermine your own success. So you have an idea, but the stories of your belief start. You need to shut down all of the narratives and stories playing out around it. It won't work for me. I can't do that. I'm not like her. Keep processing the idea that you have and don't shut it down. Acknowledge the resistance that's there. It's okay. Get to understand where that is and what it is. Where is it coming from? What false belief is driving it? And then do the fucking thing anyway. Create the opposing evidence to that false belief. Create safety around it. Stretch your comfort zone and show yourself your capabilities. So, something that I just mentioned that may hit close to home for a lot of women is self-sabotage. We've all done it. We've all had moments where we consciously or unconsciously act against our own best interest. Whether it's procrastinating on an important task, pushing away a supportive friend, not showing up to do the thing, or indulging in unhealthy habits. we often find ourselves engaging in self-destructive behaviors that hold us back from achieving our goals. Self-sabotaging can stop us from moving forward. It will undermine our self-confidence. Self-sabotage will lead us to doubt our abilities and diminish our confidence, and it will make it harder to take risks and pursue your goals. When you repeatedly engage in self-sabotaging behaviors, you'll create a pattern of failure that reinforces negative beliefs and attitudes, and it will make it harder to break out of that cycle and achieve success. It will be time-consuming and energy draining, and you will spend hours procrastinating, engaging in self-destructive habits, or worrying about your mistakes. It will leave you feeling exhausted, unproductive, making it harder to move forward towards your goals. It will create problems in relationships with others. You will push away any supportive people in your life because you don't want them to reflect back your self-sabotaging behavior. Ultimately, self-sabotage will limit your potential and prevent you from achieving your goals. When you engage in self-destructive behaviors, you're not living up to your full potential or using your talents and abilities to the fullest extent. This is where you're going to go wrong if you give in to this mindset. We do sabotage ourselves when we know it's not in our best interest. It comes from our subconscious mind. Our subconscious mind holds a powerful influence over our thoughts, feelings, and actions. It is the part of our mind that operates below the surface, and it's responsible for our habits, beliefs, and automatic responses. Sometimes our subconscious mind can develop limiting beliefs and negative self-talk that convinces us we're not capable of achieving our goals and we don't deserve success. These beliefs can lead to self-sabotaging behavior, and it keeps us stuck in a cycle of failure and disappointment. But you can change your subconscious programming. You can rewire your thought patterns and habits to support your goals and dreams. And this is exactly what I have done. Can you see how limiting beliefs will lead to fear of failure, will lead to self-sabotage, and it's all tying in? The first step is overcoming your self-sabotaging, is becoming aware of the self-destructive behaviors you're engaging in. You have to be willing to look honestly at yourself and your patterns and your behaviors. Call yourself out on your shit. It will be uncomfortable. It will be painful, but it is a necessary step towards growth and change. Once we are aware of our self-sabotaging behaviors, you can start challenging the beliefs that are driving them. Ask yourself, is this behavior helping me achieve my goals? What would I be doing differently if I believed in myself and my abilities? If you believe in yourself, what would you do? If you believed you couldn't fail, what would you do? If you were already successful, what would you be doing? To overcome self-sabotage and move forward in the future, it is important to become aware of your self-destructive patterns. Challenge your limiting beliefs. Seek out supportive friends and mentors who believe in you and can reflect your potential back and call you out when you're engaging in this behavior. They will boost your confidence and your self-esteem. With time, effort, and persistence, you can break free from self-sabotage and achieve success. Safety has always won over your desires. Humans are designed to follow what is safe and not what they want, and it has become the social norm to expect that, encourage that, and celebrate it. Well, fuck that. I'm not here to celebrate normal and expected. We want and need to feel safe within our regular 9 to 5, within our routine, within our paychecks, within our community, within the known. Your brain doesn't like the unknown. It likes to know what to expect, not surprises. Even if those things are serving you, bringing you joy and happiness and fulfillment. Think about it. Would you rather be passionate and fulfilled, possibly making $350K in 18 months, Or would you rather be safe in your job with your 45-minute lunch breaks, with your 4 weeks off a year, having to ask for a day off for your birthday to spend it how you want to? If you would prefer the former option or just a life that looks differently to the one that's not fulfilling you now, answer this. Are you willing to fail? Are you willing to do it on your own and rely on yourself? Can you trust yourself to do that? Are you willing to be turned down and feel rejected? Can you understand your emotions and pick yourself up multiple times and keep pushing through? Are you okay with not knowing the answer and doing the work to go and find it? The secret to success is feeling it all: the pain, the fear, the anxiety, the stress, the want to sabotage yourself in the process, the want for more of everything, the need, the feelings of unworthiness, not being validated for all of your hard work and continuing to do it anyway. Knowing that you fucking back yourself to handle it and keep showing the fuck up every day. It's setting the boundaries, facing the fears, removing the limits, changing the behaviors. It's being emotionally intelligent beyond belief. We've been told time and time again to focus on the end goal, to keep your eyes fixed on the prize. But I am here to tell you that that is not always the best approach. Success is not about reaching a destination. It's about the journey you take to get there. The experiences, the failures, the triumphs, and the growth that you grow through on the way to achieving your goals. They are just as important as the end result. Focusing solely on the end goal can be detrimental to your success. It can blind you to the lessons and opportunities that are presented to you along the way. It can make you miss out on the chance to learn from your mistakes and grow as an individual. Focusing only on the end goal can make your journey feel like a burden, a tedious and overwhelming task that you need to complete as quickly as possible. This will lead you to burnout, anxiety, and a feeling of emptiness, even when you do achieve the goal. So what is the alternative? How can we pursue our goals without obsessing over the end result? The answer lies in enjoying the journey. Take pleasure in your small victories, the progress you make each day, the relationships you build, and the obstacles you overcome. Learn from your failure and celebrate your success, no matter how small they seem. Embrace the process and don't be afraid to take detours to try new things and explore different paths. You may miss your most important lessons here and not change when you need to. Success is not about achieving a goal. It's about the person you become on the way. You will face challenges, setbacks, failure, but in those moments, those where you will learn, that you will grow the most and you will become stronger. Embrace the process and learn from your mistakes. Enjoy the fucking ride. And remember, it's not about the end goal. You are becoming a better version of yourself and living a more fulfilling life. So, what now? Now that we've gone over everything, what can you physically do right now to move away from being stuck? Firstly, stop fucking waiting. You will never be ready. The timing will never be right. Do the fucking thing. Take one step. Trust yourself to figure it out as you go and allow yourself the grace to change and pivot as you do. Accept and welcome setbacks and choose to see them as a way to learn more. Work on yourself and understand who you are, what you want, what you need, and what is going to fulfill you. So here's your homework. Write these down and take your time to dive deep into them. What are your top 5 core values as a human being? What's the most important to you? What are you morally passionate about? What are you really fucking passionate about? Does it light you on fire? What do I want to be known for? What is my contribution here? Do I currently know and understand myself? What drives me? Do I understand my emotions? Am I ready to face change? Am I ready to embrace growth and let go of what can't come with me? Am I ready to take messy as fuck action? Take a look at your life. Does your life reflect your core values? Or is it maybe completely opposite and out of integrity? We need to have a look at this. Another activity that we can do is the Wheel of Life. Now, I know that this might be basic as fuck for some people, but sometimes we need to do basic to pull our heads out of the fucking sand. The Wheel of Life exercise is a balance in finding a personal and unique viewpoint of your life. So what may be satisfying or balanced for some people may be stressful or boring for others. This exercise will raise your awareness and allow you to plan a life that is more satisfying and closer to your definition of balance. It helps clarify your priorities for goal setting. Balance must be assessed over time, so you can regularly check in and use this as helpful in highlighting where your patterns and learn more about yourself. So you review these 8 categories in the Wheel of Life, and they should be balanced. And if not, it gets you a beautiful invitation to look deeper. You can also relabel them as well. Like you can split family and friends into separate. You can change, significant other into like relationship, dating life, those kind of things. Work can be different. Whatever you want it to look like. Health can be spiritual and physical well-being, those kind of things. But we want to look at these 8 areas in our life. Now, rank your level of satisfaction with each area of your life by joining a line across each segment. So place a value between 1 being very dissatisfied, and 10 being fully satisfied against each area to show how you are currently feeling about each category of your life. The new perimeter of the circle represents your Wheel of Life. And then we look at how bumpy it is. So you would go, see how we've got 1 to 10, 10 being fully satisfied, 1 being completely dissatisfied. So you would draw your circle. So say you started at 7, personal growth might drop down to 5, health might drop up to 8. So you would draw around your circle, and this shows you what areas that you need to focus on. So after completing this, have a look at your wheel and ask yourself these questions. Are there any surprises here? How do you feel about your life as you look at it? How do you currently spend time in these areas? How would you like to spend time? What would make the score go up to a 10? Which of these categories would you most likely want to improve? How can you make space for these changes in your life? What help and support will you need to make these changes to live a more satisfied life? What change should you make first, and what change do you want to make first? Is there one key action that could take that? Is there one key action you could take that would begin to bring everything into balance? And what would that be? To wrap up the exercise, identify 1 action for each area and then pick 1 to 3 actions to get started. Choose the 3 areas you most want to work on and identify an action for each. If you're extremely busy or stressed, I would go to choose the easiest and the smallest step to get started. Don't overwhelm yourself with this. But this exercise, as basic as it is, will show you smack bang in your face where you're not putting enough attention in your life. I want you to do these journal prompts and do the Wheel of Life in order to move forward into taking your success and your goals and your future from fine to holy fuck, this is my life. Now, we are coming to the end. It has been a long one. Thank you for staying through this. I hope that this has given you some understanding of where your mindset needs to be in order to change your life. I know so many women are dealing with burnout, getting to their breaking point, and so many women are not living to their potential and fully bossing in every area of their life because so much of this stuff is holding them back. If you do want extra support in learning how to reach that level for you, I am offering shorter mindset coaching at the moment. I am doing a 2-month offer and a 1-month offer, where we can dive into your patterns, behaviors, mindset, wounding, trauma, all of the things keeping you stuck. Those are the different payment plan options and costings for those 8-week and 4-week programs. I do have 4-month options available as well. And then also, if coaching is something that you are thinking about might be a possibility for you, I am running beta testing for business coaching as well. I'm starting off with 12-week coaching, which is $9.99 and can be done in payment plans as well. I have 3 places available for that, and I currently have places open for my mindset as well. If this has struck something in you tonight and you know that you need help to move forward and to action some of these things for yourself, and you can see yourself in these mindset blocks keeping you stuck, I want to be able to help you in moving forward. But hopefully tonight's call has been something to trigger something in you and empower you to move yourself. I hope that this is helpful. I won't keep you any longer because it has been a long one. Thank you so much for sharing this call with me tonight. Any feedback, I would love to hear it in my DMs on Instagram or Inboxer if you have me there. If anybody would like any further information, you know where to find me. Just take the rest of the night or whenever you've watched this to process this. Get comfortable with looking at your mindset and finding out why you're staying stuck. Meet yourself at those edges and have a think about how you can move forward. Enjoy the rest of your night. I am going to stop sharing and then I'm going to stop